jellyfish, shalom, and welcome back to A.S.K. in episode 2 of Alien vs. Alien. Last time we took a look at Heat Blast and Swampfire, comparing them in a bunch of categories, and today it's time to do the same with Ben Tennyson's two most famous BRAWN aliens, Forearms and Humungousaur. Starting with the art style and designs of these two aliens over the years, both have been pretty hit or miss, frankly. I love the classic look of both of them, whether it's the UAF design of Humungousaur or the OG design of Forearms, as I touched about in my OB redesigns video, but the rest of their designs have been pretty lackluster. The Ultimate Alien Forearms design is pretty mediocre, with the gold straps and the ponytail. Seriously, whoever thought of that beauty deserves some kind of return for such an incredible idea. I don't know whether it's a positive or negative return, but definitely some kind of freaking karma. Now that I think about it, did Forearms always have hair and a beard in the classic series with the black vertical line on his head? That's some food for thought in the comments, but even then, the Omniverse design is not as bad as the UA version, and I'd actually call it pretty decent, all things considered. As far as Humungousaur, the UAF design is pretty solid on its own, and then is cutified up, as I call it, into the cliche Omniverse look for every alien, with way too much green, an unnecessary strap, and more curves to give it a smooth and menacing demeanor. Not what I'd call a good idea when working with Ben's most muscular looking dino alien, to be honest with you. Even with all the art style changes, I think it's foolish to not give the point to Forearms, considering his design is much more clever with the sheer strength alien concept, with the red color in the forearms, compared to just a colossal oaf like Humungousaur kind of comes off as. Point for design throughout the franchise goes to Forearms. As far as powers, both Handyman and Dino Mighty have pretty bland sets of abilities aside from just sheer strength. As far as who's stronger, the evidence on this has been less than reliable on both sides, to say the least. Tetramans, especially females, have been said to be stronger, and Princess Luma actually overpowered Humungousaur, while Forearms was able to defeat her, which would imply Forearms is stronger. However, in some examples, such as when Ben tries to get the sword out of the stone, it is clear that Humungousaur is actually able to lift more weight. Yeah, personally, I think female Tetramans are at the top of the list, followed by Humungousaur and then Forearms, because you can't really look at both these guys and tell me that the giant dinosaur couldn't just punch Forearms out of existence with his massive arms, let alone his tail, which Forearms lacks, or his growth shift ability. Even with the pretty cool sonic clap, Forearms would still get smoked in a fight with the big D in my opinion. One goes to Humungousaur. Both aliens are pretty indestructible physically, especially in a hand-to-hand fight situation, but both present the disadvantage of being too big for certain areas, such as the rust bucket, and Humungousaur being larger presents the weakness of being much slower when he walks. This is a problem Forearms doesn't have, and it makes Humungousaur a disadvantage in a chase situation, whereas we've seen Forearms jump large distances, Hulk style, and be able to move a lot more agile, rather than Humungousaur, who reverts to as clumsy as cannonbolts at points. Once again, just like the design, the voices for these two gradually got worse and worse with time. Forearms was originally voiced by Richard McGonigal, a very chilling voice that fits amazingly for the character and gives him much more depth than just a deep cliche voice. The voice actor was even on record saying that Forearms was his hardest ever role, comparing it to gargling glass. In Ultimate Alien, the reins were handed to D. Bradley Baker, who did a decent enough job with the voice, and later John DiMaggio voices him in Omniverse, who just sounds like the deep cliche man voice I was talking about earlier. Similarly for Humungousaur, he actually had the two exact same voice actors for the latter two shows, with D covering for UAF and John for OV, and the similarities in the voices is much more apparent in Omniverse, where Forearms and Humungousaur almost sound identical, even getting hints of wrath in there occasionally. Now, if I was to compare these 5 different voice actors among the shows, the best would obviously go to Richard McGonigal, who voiced Forearms in the classic series, and since both of Humungousaur's voices were just below average in my eyes, I think Forearms win this category as well. No disrespect to the voice actors, I love DiMaggio as Wrath greatly as an example, and of course D. Baker as well, but to say the voice is improved is just not true in both cases. So I gotta go with the first one that basically delivered solidly in the first place. Now, powers and voices are cool and all, but they don't really mean much if they aren't utilized with some interesting moments throughout the franchise. Which alien had the cooler moments? Well, for starters, Humungousaur is actually the most used transformation in the entire classic continuity, appearing a total of 89 times throughout the 4 shows. In that time, he's used regularly as Ben's go-to alien, such as when he fights Vilgax during the Vengeance special, becomes the first Ultimate Alien to appear on screen, angrily fights and manages to throw a house on Edgar's head, appears as the first alien in the Generator Rex crossover, and beats Tyrannopede Kyber with the help of Skurd. On the red and handy side, Forearms also has his fair share of cool moments, including his epic mammoth and bird fight scenes, his battle with Kevin on the Golden Gate Bridge, fighting the -10, and appearing as the only alien twice on screen in the same shot in the Forge of Creation. He defeats Serpent, defeats Dr. Animo, defeats Dr. Stockholm Syndrome, defeats Inspector 13, defeats Princess Luma, and appeared in the court trial during the Tetraman Trial of Combat. Jesus Christ, he beats a lot of people. I think the winner here is obvious, so I gotta give it to Forearms' coolest moments throughout the shows. So ultimately, Forearms won this battle 4-1, which is pretty astonishing. While Humungousaur is a pretty awesome cool alien that every dude loved as a kid, he just couldn't compare to the red legend that was my homie Forearms. What do you guys think? Which alien won this battle for you? Sure to let me know in the comments down below, and please like and subscribe if you did enjoy to support me. I have a plethora of other Ben 10 content on the channel, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it if you're new. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you beautiful ladies and jellyfish next time. Shalom!